In this episode, we talk about my NFL Week 1 takeaways, plus a recap on the Buffalo Bills in their first two games of the season. Episode 47 of N1 from the End Zone starts now.
You're watching the latest episode of N1 from the End Zone. Please click on that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it.
Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, I want to take a moment to thank you guys for being a part of N1 from the End Zone. As we continue to grow, we have now surpassed over 5,100 subs. And I really do love and appreciate your support. So please don't forget to leave a comment on the video. I want to know if you agree or disagree with my takes. And now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get into it. So the Eagles versus the Packers ended with a 34-29 victory for the Philadelphia Eagles. And with 6 seconds left on the clock, Jordan Love goes down with an injury. I kind of think the play was dirty, in my personal opinion, and hopefully he's not out for the entire season. Based on my rankings, I thought the division was going to go between the Packers and the Lions. Even though I thought three teams were going to finish 10-7, I thought the two division winners could either be the Lions, number one, and then the Packers, number two. With this Jordan Love injury, sadly, I don't think that's going to be possible. That's going to move the Bears up to, I think, second in that division. They're going to be relying on Malik Willis. In my personal opinion, today we got to see the emergence of Jaden Reed as the number one option or the number one weapon outside of Josh Jacobs for the Green Bay Packers. Not just because I have him on my fantasy football team, full disclosure, but literally towards the end of last season when Jordan Love got hot, he was relying on Jaden Reed a lot, especially in the red zone, because he's a good go-to target. He targeted him 6 times. He caught four of them. Two of those balls, I would say, were on Jordan Love that he just misfired. He had a lot of misfirings this game. I mainly think it's just because he's knocking off the rust, but I was excited because I got Saquon Barkley from the Philadelphia Eagles and I got Jaden Reed and Josh Jacobs from the Green Bay Packers. So I was going crazy on both sides. I didn't care who won essentially. But based on my predictions, it was in my favor, I think, to have the Philadelphia Eagles win this game. But the Eagles are drastically better. They have Saquon Barkley, their offensive line. I think those miscommunications, if they can get worked out by the middle of the season, I don't think they started any of their starters this preseason. So I think those miscommunications, they'll be worked out. The Philadelphia Eagles should be good as long as Saquon Barkley can stay healthy. And as long as some of those timing and miscommunication errors between the offensive line or more or less Jurgensen and Jalen Hurts can get fixed. This is going to be a great football season. Prayers go out to Jordan Love. I think for the sake of the Green Bay Packers, I trust Matt LaFleur and his head coaching skills and his offensive mentality. So I think he can get the most out of Malik Willis if they're going to be starting Malik Willis going on from here on out until Jordan Love can get back. Hopefully, Jordan Love is not out for the whole season. I have a bad feeling that he might have torn something, but hopefully it's not that. But with that being said, I think the Green Bay offense should be running through Josh Jacobs because you got to see what Josh Jacob was doing to the Eagles defense once he got rolling. And Jaden Reed, no offense to Romeo Dobbs or Christian Watson or Wicks. I just think that Jaden Reed, especially in this game, stood out more, was able to do more with the ball in his hands. And I think especially because I see him in the Debo role for the Green Bay Packers. That's their number one weapon outside of Josh Jacobs. So I think the offense, especially with Malik Willis being the new quarterback for them, should be going through Josh Jacobs number one and Jaden Reed number two.
So, an update on the Jordan Love situation. Some positive news coming out of Green Bay where Jordan Love did not tear his ACL. Thank God. All that happened was that he sprained his MCL and he might be out 3 to 6 weeks. Personally, not because I'm a Niner fan, not because I have a vested interest in this, but because of his health, because I want him to have a very long career and I hope he's a successful quarterback. They paid him a lot of money for a reason. Hopefully, he can live up to that contract. But with that being said, if it were me, I'd sit him the 6 weeks just because I could guarantee him being healthy the entire season and moving forward in his career. Make sure that MCL is fully healed or as much healed as possible. And because I believe Matt LaFleur is a decent head coach, I not just a decent head coach, I believe Matt LaFleur is a really good head coach. He might be able to get the most out of Malik Willis and or Sean Clifford, or they might be able to trade for Mac Jones down in Jacksonville. He had a really good preseason. He looked good against the twos and threes. He's also an experienced starting quarterback. He had a defensive minded head coach in Bill Belichick. He had Matt Patricia. His career wasn't the best with the New England Patriots, but if they go after Mac Jones, put Mac Jones with Matt LaFleur for 3 to 6 weeks, I guarantee you Mac Jones's career would be resuscitated. He would have multiple opportunities lined up at wherever he were to go. I think for the Packers, the best thing that they could do is rest Jordan Love 6 weeks, trade a pick either this year or next year for Mac Jones, put him in that system with Matt LaFleur, and let them cook. I didn't like what I saw from the two plays that I saw Malik Willis go out there and play. Maybe he developed some sort of consistency here moving on. But throughout Malik Willis's career, I know he had a defensive minded head coach with Mike Rabel, so he didn't really have an opportunity to properly develop. So we are wait and see on the whole Malik Willis situation. If Malik Willis is clearly not that guy, go get Mac Jones. Try to be viable. Try to get 2 or 3 wins. Let Jordan Love heal up for 3 to 6 weeks. If it's 6 weeks, let him heal up to 6 weeks. If you guys are 2-4 or 3-3, by that point, you get your quarterback back. You guys are still viable for the playoffs. Positive news coming out of Green Bay. It's not the entire season. We'll hopefully see Jordan Love play again at some point this year.
Guys, have you heard? Shady Mob Productions is an official affiliate of HBO Max. Click on the link in the description and sign up so you can watch hit series like Hard Knocks, Game of Thrones, and House of Dragons. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
Some other positive news coming out of the San Francisco Bay Area is Ricky Pearsall is walking around. He's at practice. He's doing well. And word coming out from the San Francisco 49ers GM John Lynch is that we are actually going to get to see Ricky play this year. And I'm excited about that. That is great news. That is positive news. Season week 1 is about to be underway. I'm assuming Ricky Pearsall was not going to be playing in the first 4 weeks, but hopefully we'll see him playing with it by week 5, week 6, maybe week 7. Who knows? Give him some time to recover. But I'm just excited that Ricky is walking around. He looks like he's in good spirits. He looks like he's ready to go out there and start catching balls right now. But because again, he's recovering from a bullet shot that went right through him and missed all his vital organs. Thank God he's okay. Thank God we're going to get to see him play. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe Ricky Pearsall is going to show you why we drafted him number 1. I do still believe Jacob Cowing is the best wide receiver in the draft because he's seen a lot of football. He understands it. He's gotten a lot of game time. Yes, there's miles on those legs, but he was a top 5. He was a top 5, top 10 wide receiver in college every year that he played in some category. I believe that's going to translate into the NFL, and we're going to see it. We're going to see it firsthand with Jacob Cowing. We're going to see what Ricky Pearsall is going to be able to do with the starters, hopefully. I'm just excited. This is going to be a great year for the San Francisco 49ers, and hopefully we can stay healthy. We got Trent Williams back. We got Brandon Ayuk back. Let's go, baby. Bang, bang, Niner gang, baby. Bang, bang, Niner gang.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the Monday night football matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and the New York Jets. Right now, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the first half, and by the end of the segment, you'll have my thoughts on the entire game. So, my first half recap is, can we please move Dominic Pooney to right tackle? McKivitz, God, I know we were able to move the ball down the field thanks to Jordan Mason. And I think the reason why they have McKivitz there is because he's a good running offensive lineman, but he can't pass protect for shit. Dominic Pooney, boy, is looking good out there. He is dominating. He is playing great at right guard. I still think he should be playing right tackle. He didn't allow a sack in college, and I'm going to be riding this wave until hopefully we get to see him at right tackle, and then I can say I told you all that he should be a right tackle. Brandon Ayuk is definitely feeling the rust. He missed a beautifully thrown ball placed by Brock Purdy. He does look a little bit gassed, and I think it'll take him a couple of weeks. Maybe it'll happen after the Minnesota game. That rust will be off of him, and he'll be able to go back to the BA that we know and love. Jordan Mason, stellar performance. I don't know why the fuck I dropped him for Najee Harris. I didn't realize CMC was going to be out this early on. So I thought, okay, I'm going to drop Jordan Mason and I'm going to pick up Najee, who's the Steelers' number one back. And boy, what did I fuck that up. Jordan Mason is having a game, and I'm going crazy over here. Brock, he started off a bit slow, definitely had some rust on him, but he found a rhythm. He's making some really nice throws. He's completing beautiful passes to Debo, to Ayuk, to Kittle, to Juwan. He's using all them weapons, and them weapons looking mighty, mighty, mighty fine. Will they be able to finish out the game in the second half? Who knows? The Jets, on the other hand, Aaron Rodgers, boy, he found a rhythm. He found a rhythm. He was chopping us up, and thanks to our running game, thanks to us, I believe, dominating time of possession, we've been able to do an excellent job limiting the amount of time that he has the ball. We're doing a good job adjusting to their offense. Granted, it's the Nathaniel Hackett combination offense with Aaron Rodgers, but I still believe Aaron Rodgers is calling his own play, calling his own number. So we'll see if the Jets can make a comeback. You never know in football, anything can happen. So moving on to the second half recap. Baby. We smashed them Jets, ladies and gentlemen. 32-19. Bang, 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 Niner gang. I thought Brock couldn't do it without CMC out there. I know Nick Wright was saying that. I thought they needed the all-pro lineup out there. Brandon Ayuk wasn't a part of the offseason program. Niners whooped that ass 32-19. Yes, I understand Brock didn't score a touchdown, but he also didn't throw an interception. He didn't throw a pick. He didn't fumble the fucking football. They were sound. Please put Dominic Pooty at right tackle. I'm telling you, move McKivitz to the inside. I think if you make that switch, McKivitz and Mooney will both be excelling and have long-term career as offensive linemen for the San Francisco 49ers. But with that being said, Aaron Rodgers, he's rusty. He hasn't played necessarily in over basically 2 years. He hasn't really played football, a year and a half. I know he only played 4 snaps last year, and he didn't play during the preseason because Robert Saleh and I believe the organization made a decision to hold him back because they didn't want to aggravate or risk injury. With that being said, Niners, Jordan Mason, he looked fucking phenomenal. I think this might be the year that we have a dual running back system finally, like I've been talking about for the longest of time. Jordan Mason seems more than capable, didn't fumble the ball, played the entire game essentially, and looked really fucking good. I think Isaac Guerendo, once he gets an opportunity to play, will also look tremendous, but he's got to work his way up into the starting lineup, up into the second or third string, especially now that CMC is injured, and especially because Jordan Mason proved why we've put so much faith in him. He ran hard for us last year. He ran hard for us during the preseason, and now that CMC was inactive, he came out there, he balled the fuck out, and oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm so ecstatic. I still contend that we might lose against Minnesota because we haven't beaten Minnesota at Minnesota in some time, which is a really weird stat. Also, Sam Darnold looked decent with Kevin O'Connell as his play caller. So we'll see. We know what Sam Darnold is capable of. He was in our locker room last year. The style of offense Kevin O'Connell runs is similar to that of the San Francisco 49ers. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. Hopefully, we can get the monkey off our back, but I wouldn't be surprised if we lose. It's not the end of the world if we do. We're going to be, in my opinion, still finishing 13-4 or 14-3, even with the loss to Minnesota. So relax, everybody. But with that being said, Brock looked phenomenal. He's getting better, got more on time, got more on rhythm. Juwan Jennings looked good. Debo looked good. Kyle Juszczyk, ladies and gentlemen, looked phenomenal. Brandon Ayuk got rust to work out. And then Aaron Rodgers, I believe he's going to get back into form. He looked good early on, got out of rhythm. Also, our defense is probably one of the best defenses in the league, in my personal opinion. So for him to come back, face that defense in his first game back after however long he was gone, that's going to affect him. That being said, bang, bang, Niner gang. Let's move on, ladies and gentlemen.
If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area and want the best cut of your life, go check out Headspins Barbershop located in South San Francisco, the official barbershop of N1 from the End Zone.
So the Bills are now 2-0, and my takeaway from the Buffalo Bills after the first 2 weeks. So game one, I thought the offense was all Josh Allen. He went for 4 touchdowns, two passing, two rushing, and again, very limited run game. He was the one moving the ball up and down the field. You know how Josh Allen does. I was worried that the Buffalo Bills were again going to just rely on Josh Allen, and I didn't think that that was sustainable for the entirety of the season. Today, after facing the Dolphins, and Josh Allen was very limited in what he did in the passing game and even what he did with his legs. They relied on that Buffalo Bill defense, and it was a James Cook game pounding the rock. The Bills look good. The Bills look like they're going to actually be a threat this year. They're doing wide receiver by committee. James Cook is cooking. And Josh Allen, if need be, he can get out of the pocket. He can run. This game, he only had 2 carries for 2 yards, and he can still throw the ball down the field. He's limiting his turnovers. I like this version of the Bills. This is probably the best version of the Bills that I've seen since Josh Allen has been the quarterback there. And Tua again got hurt in this game. And I just don't want it to be another Junior Seau situation. So I really hope that they take every precaution with Tua and this concussion because it was diagnosed as a concussion when he went down after lowering, because he lowered his head when Damar Hamlin made the tackle. He lowered his head and he pushed and he rammed himself into Damar Hamlin. And man, I'm just very concerned about Tua's mental health and just Tua's head overall because CT is a thing, especially in the National Football League. And again, I just don't want another Junior Seau situation. So hopefully they take every precaution. Hopefully Tua takes his time coming back. I was surprised on I'll be honest, I was surprised on how bad Tua looked, especially this early on in the season. It's not cold, it's at home. I genuinely thought and believed that Tua was going to have a better showing than what he had. He threw 3 picks. He threw a pick six. It just looked like an abysmal game, and they had their weapons. Yes, I understand that Raheem Mostert wasn't playing, but Achan is a decent running back. He's a good weapon. You still got Waddle. You still got Tyreek Hill. The offensive line was struggling at times, but I don't know. I just think it was a big letdown for me, especially with everything that I thought the Miami Dolphins could be doing this year. I thought they were going to be the second best team in that division. Clearly, I was wrong. I think the Bills are still going to be the best team in this division at this point after 2 weeks. The Jets are probably going to hopefully end up second because if they don't, then Robert Saleh is going to be out of a job. And I think Robert Saleh is an excellent defensive minded head coach. And for him to be out of a job, that's gonna suck for him because he's never really had an opportunity to have a good quarterback except now that he has Aaron Rodgers. So those are a real threat. In regards to the game against the Cardinals, Cardinals are going to be feisty this year. That's a fact. They need to find a way to get the ball to Marvin Harrison more than just one catch for 4 yards. Yes, I understand they targeted him 4 times and he had 3 drops, I think, or he had 2 drops. Either way, they need to find a better way to have cohesion between Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison because that's going to be the offensive duo that's going to carry the Cardinals for many years to come, in my opinion. Kyler Murray, again, I think he's one of the best mobile quarterbacks in the league. If he can stay healthy, I think the Cardinals are going to be very feisty. I don't know if they're going to be a playoff team, but I could see them finishing around 9-8 this year, 8-9. I think this is going to be a good year for the Cardinals. They're going to take another step under Jonathan Gannon, who's their head coach, and maybe be contenders here in the next couple of years as long as they have continuity and they continue to grow and progress in the league. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Cincinnati Bengals versus the New England Patriots, where the Bengals lost 16-10 to the New England Patriots. One thing that stood out to me tremendously was the New England Patriots defense. They only allowed 70 yards rushing. They only allowed 164 yards through the air, and they sacked Joe Burrow 3 times. Jamar Chase definitely looked rusty because of the fact that he's been limited through the offseason program. So they definitely should get a deal done there. T. Higgins didn't play because of an injury, but I'm also assuming there's some sort of contract dispute. So I was very high on the Bengals, but that's also like another thing. Early on in the season, the Bengals aren't that good. Throughout Joe Burrow's career, since he's been with the Cincinnati Bengals, they're like 1-5 in week one. So not to hit the panic button just yet. They could go 0-3 and then they could still make the playoffs and be contending and be in the AFC Championship game. I've seen it happen before. So we're not going to hit the panic button yet because we believe in Joe Burrow. But because of all the external factors that are going on with the Cincinnati Bengals, with all the contract disputes, at least to the wide receivers, I could see that affecting them to an extent where the offense struggles. And Joe Burrow's the number one overall pick, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't have a running game because they got rid of Joe Mixon now, and they're relying on Zach Moss, who is a downgrade, in my opinion, from Joe Mixon. And people talk about my guy Brock Purdy being a product of the weapons around him. Look at Joe Burrow. He is literally a product of the weapons around him. He has T. Higgins. He has Jamar Chase. He had Joe Mixon. And now that he doesn't have Joe Mixon, now that his weapons have been limited and they haven't been present, we see him struggling. Maybe they can turn it around week two. Let's talk about the Houston Texans versus the Indianapolis Colts here really quickly. The Texans were able to hold on to a 2-point victory over the Indianapolis Colts, winning 29-27. Stephon Diggs had a great debut with the Houston Texans, going 6 for 33 yards and 2 touchdowns. He caught all 6 of his targets. Tank Dell had a shaky game. He caught 3 of the 6 targets that went his way. I think that'll be an uptick, but we definitely for sure have a pecking order where it's gonna be Nico, Tank, and then Stephon Diggs. It's gonna be Nico number one, Tank probably two, and Stephon Diggs three. Either way, Stephon Diggs with 1 carry for 6 yards. They're really opening up the playbook with him, and the addition of Joe Mixon to that offense is gonna be tremendous for the Houston Texans. He had 30 carries for 159 yards and a touchdown. So the Texans are going to be good this year. Give them a little bit more time to get everything situated. The offense looks great. The defense, I think, is going to take a step forward. And Anthony Richardson, who's coming back off of an injury and not being able to play last year, looked phenomenal. Yeah, he went 9 for 19, completing less than 50% of his passes, but he went for 212 yards passing. He had 2 touchdowns and an interception. He ran 6 times for 56 yards. Give him a little bit more time. And once he gets settled in the NFL, he, in my opinion, is going to be really good. He needs to get his completion percentage up, but the dual threat versatility and the fact that he has that cannon of an arm, he's going to be fine. Indianapolis is going to be in great hands. Jonathan Taylor's still there. And once he gets more accustomed to Michael Pittman, once he gets more reps in with Mo Alley Cox, the Indianapolis Colts are going to be a good team and competing for the AFC South title alongside the Houston Texans. And in my opinion, the Jags might be the odd man out in that division. Uh, the Titans, they're irrelevant. I think they're going to be the worst team in the league, but this year. But the Jags, odd man out. Just saying. Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys have agreed to a new 4-year contract extension, I think worth $230 million, $240 million, making him the highest paid quarterback in the league at an average annual salary of $60 million a year. The way Dak Prescott celebrated his contract was by whooping the shit out of the Cleveland Browns and putting up 33 points to a measly 17. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Deshaun Watson, they need to go to DTR. Demetrius Thompson Robinson, he should be the starter for the Cleveland Browns. Deshaun Watson is not the Deshaun Watson from the Houston Texans. Uh, He's been that 1 year that he didn't play because he wanted to be traded, and then being suspended again after that really did impact his career. And he's just never regained form because I think people look at him side-eyed or whatever. His confidence is completely gone, and I don't think he should be in the NFL at this point because he's putting himself and his body on the line. There was a couple of hits in that game where I saw him go down, and it just didn't it seemed like he was a man defeated every time he was trying to get up. And when your mentality is like that, I think it is very dangerous and you're just putting yourself in danger. So, for the sake of Deshaun Watson's body, I'm not going to talk about all the other stuff that's come out recently, but for the sake of Deshaun Watson's body and for the sake of the Cleveland Brown season, go to Demetrius Thompson Robinson. I feel like they'll have a better chance winning games and being able to move that offense with DTR at the helm, especially because he's been in the Stefanski system now for over a year. This would be his second year, and call it like it is. That Deshaun Watson for Baker Mayfield contract, total fuck up. Total fuck up. Dak had an okay game, completing 19 passes on 32 attempts for 179 yards and a touchdown. Ezekiel Elliott had 10 carries, averaging 4 yards a carry for 40 yards and scoring a touchdown. And CeeDee Lamb, he had 10 targets, only caught five of them for 61 yards. Definitely looked rusty, but Brandon Cooks was able to bail them out at times, catching four of his seven targets. So the Cowboys, they looked okay. They looked good. With this version of the Cleveland Browns, could this version of the Cleveland Browns be tomato cans with Deshaun Watson at the helm? And is that why the Dallas Cowboys were able to win? It's still early on. We'll wait and see. I am holding my breath on the Dallas Cowboys. Good for them. Congratulations to Dak on his new contract, though.
Guys, join me, Alex the Man Angelov, and check out A&A Radio, where we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest financial news, investments, banking, and personal finance. Check out the channel and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
Time for the Flaming Hot 5 NFL Week 2 picks, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I know we didn't start off hot. We got lucky with the Broncos being able to hit the 6 points, and we didn't lose any money last week there. And then we were also right about the Cardinals against the Bills being able to cover. The other games, it's okay. It's week 1. Who would have thought the Patriots were going to beat the Bengals? I thought that was easy money. That's why I took the money line. I should have just taken the Patriots and the points. That's on me. But we learn, we ball, we move on. Week 2, we gonna make some money, ladies and gentlemen. So week 2, I have the Jets -4 over the Titans. If the Jets lose this game, it is definitely time to hit the panic button in New York, especially because the Titans are being led by horrible quarterbacking play from Will Levis. I don't think he'll bounce back. Maybe Callahan, the head coach over there, is going to be able to get the best out of Will. But as of right now, I believe the Jets are going to be able to cover the 4 points against the Titans. I think the Chargers -6 over the Panthers. The Panthers are just bad. Dave Canellis, I believe in him. But again, it's a tough schedule to start off the season. They got blown out last week by the Saints, and now they're meeting the Chargers, who are a physically dominant team. Bryce Young is a super small quarterback. I don't know if that offensive line is going to be able to protect him. I know Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa are going to be headhunting for Bryce Young in that game. So take the Chargers -6, who I think will impose their wills against the Carolina Panthers. My next pick, the Chiefs -5.5 over the Bengals. Bengals are 1-9 in week 1 and 2 since Joe Burrow has been in the league. I also don't like what I'm hearing out of Cincinnati with T. Higgins possibly not playing again this week. They don't have a running game. They should have never let Joe Mixon go. And then also Jamar Chase, he's limited in practice, I believe, again this week. So I trust and I believe strongly in the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't care if they think it's Burrowhead Stadium. The Bengals, the trends are not in their favor, and I believe Kansas City is going to blow them out, especially this early on in the season. I like what I see from the wide receiving core. Isaiah Pacheco is still running hard. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, and I believe Travis Kelce, we're going to see a little bit more of Travis this week, especially because we didn't see a lot of him last week when the season opener happened. Game number 4, Texans -6.5 over the Bears. Guys, D'Amico Ryan's a defensive-minded head coach who, in my honest opinion, is a genius. Yes, they let Anthony Richardson basically dominate and get out of the pocket, but guys, they only let him complete basically 9 out of 19 passes. And Anthony Richardson, mobile quarterbacks, they're a dual threat. You gotta keep an eye on them, especially with an arm talent like that. This week, especially because Caleb Williams is a rookie quarterback and he's heading into week 2. My money is on the Texans covering 6.5. He had a really weak debut last week. He didn't look that great. 93 passing yards. Yes, I think he completed most of his passes, but it wasn't down the field. He wasn't settled in the pocket. A lot of NFL analysts have come out and said he doesn't know what he's necessarily looking at. And if I believe that the Texans are the second best team in the AFC, I believe D'Amico Ryans is going to be throwing schemes at Caleb that will put pressure on him. I don't think Caleb is going to be able to respond properly against the Texans, especially in week 2 early on. Take the 6.5 and take the Texans to beat the Bears. And Eagles minus 6.5 over the Falcons. Guys, anytime it's primetime Kirk Cousins against anybody, I'm taking the latter. I'm sorry. I don't believe in primetime Kirk Cousins. I believe the Eagles, especially coming off the amount of rest that they're coming off. They played, I believe, last week on Friday. Now they're not playing until Monday. That's a long resting period. That's a lot of time for Kellen Moore to prepare an offensive game plan. That's enough time for Vic Fangio to plan a defensive scheme, especially after we saw how poorly Kirk Cousins played last week. I don't think it's going to get better against the Eagles. So take the Eagles and the 6.5 points to beat the Falcons. And yeah, I know I'm taking a lot of favorites, but I think this week it's in the favor of the favorites, and we're riding with them, and we're going to make a lot of money this week. So, guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back with some Empowering with Positivity.
Guys, you're watching a Shady Mob production. Make sure to follow the Shady Mob podcast where we break down all the latest content and talk about life. Please make sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
Time for Empowering with Positivity. Ladies and gentlemen, in this segment, I actually want to talk about the recent activities that have transpired with Shannon Sharpe and that leaked footage of his where boy was caught in the act, ladies and gentlemen. I ain't gonna lie. Let Unc live. Man, just let Unc live. It wasn't graphic. He, like, real talk, with the way technology is and works sometimes, like, I'll be real with you, like, you drop your phone and some sort of applications turn on. Literally, I'm assuming Unc threw that shit. So it might have been unlocked when he threw it and it hit like Instagram Live, and it, again, freak accidents happen. Unc should not be punished for being a human being and partaking in the act. Dude was not staging that shit. Ain't nobody trying to stage that shit. Unc don't need that shit. Real talk. I think it was noble, responsible, and the right thing for Unc to own up to the mistake that occurred. He didn't run from it. He didn't deny it. He didn't hide it. He faced it. And frankly, I don't really think there should be any real consequences. It's two consenting adults. People, we all fuck, ladies and gentlemen. Unless you're a virgin, that's totally fine. Or unless you're like in a religion that prohibits that, that's totally fine. That's you guys. You do your thing. But guys, let Unc live. He ain't do nothing wrong. He was just partaking in the dance with no pants. You know what I'm saying? We're all human beings, and if we're all gonna take away and we're all gonna learn something from this, number one, make sure your phone is off when you're partaking in these activities because you don't want to go viral. Number two, own up to your own mistakes. He made a mistake. He owned up to it. He didn't run away from it. ESPN gave him the green light. He said, you know what, it's okay. I hope he doesn't get suspended from ESPN because Unc, he's killing it on First Take. And again, I don't think it was on purpose. So for him to get ahead of it, try not to make it a big deal. Very admirable by Shannon Sharpe. It sucks that he might lose some six to seven figure deals, but you know what? Fuck him. They're gonna make more money out of this outcome. I always believe that when something negative happens, something more positive, more beautiful is on the way. It's always going to rain before it shine, and don't ever forget that, ladies and gentlemen. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, guys, please subscribe, like, and comment on the video. Share this with your friends, families, and partners. Make some money with my picks, listen to my sports takes, or just watch for some positivity. Always remember, desire is power, and if you desire to be great, you have the power to be great. Thank you for watching another episode of N1 from the End Zone. I love and appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for more.